This is Eric from Pack Hacker, and today we're taking a look at the Langley Sierra backpack, which I've been testing for the past 2 weeks. Let's dive in. So the primary material that we're working with here is a cotton twill. And I will say I like the look, I like the texture quite a bit as well. It does pick up some pet hair a bit, as you can kind of see on the bottom here. Maybe not with how bright our lights are, but it does pick up pet hair. But it's not the most durable. Like, this is not a pack that I would trust, going on a more rugged adventure with. And just over time, I don't know how well this material is going to hold up. I think, as I said, I think it looks nice, and maybe for light use, it's not a big deal, but the material just doesn't feel super durable. But again, for light use, I think that it might be okay. We've got 7 colorways to choose from at the time of writing, so you can get a different colorway than this white one here. I do like the look of this colorway, but maybe you want something more saturated or maybe something a little bit more sleek. We've got YKK zippers throughout this pack. The ones on the exterior are AquaGuard models, so it is going to offer a bit of extra protection from rain. This material on the outside is not super water resistant. It does a pretty good job in like a light rain, but these zippers offer that little bit of extra protection. We have a logo here, which is going to be hard to see because it does match the color of the pack pretty well, in my opinion. You also have these that hold the handles, are the same kind of thing. Fully a synthetic leather, and I just like how much it blends in. It doesn't really shadow you or anything like that. You have to be real close to even see what the logo says. So we've got 2 pockets on the sides here. You can fit a smaller water bottle in here, but as you can see, I don't have one in there because I carry a 32-ounce Nalgene, so that does not fit inside of here. I do find this is pretty helpful for photography reasons though, because there is a hook and loop fastener here on either side. So if you were to put some filters, or if you're shooting and you're known to lose your lens cap, you pop your lens cap off, slide it in there, and then it is secured under that hook and loop fastener. So that is a nice feature, but not great for hydration purposes. On the top here, we do have 2 handles. So there's a little button up here that keeps them like tied together. So if you want to carry it like this, you can, which is kind of nice if you're on a shoot and you don't want to put the bag on. If you're just moving like 20 feet, you can do that. You do have to pop it open every time you want to get into the bag though, because the main compartment and the laptop compartment are underneath that. So you won't be able to get good access. And one thing to note too is like these flop down like this, which is not the end of the world, but like it can just be a little bit annoying if you just throw the backpack on quickly and want to be ready to go. So if they stood up, kind of like I think most Kankens do stand up, it kind of does look like a Kanken. It's kind of handy, but also then those can get in the way when they're standing up, so it's kind of a little bit of give and take. But overall, I think the exterior looks kind of neat, just depends on whether or not you like it or not, but these materials are not my favorite, but the hardware does a pretty good job. So on the harness system here, the back panel is pretty well padded. You can kind of see that it's like raised up here a bit. So there is a fair amount of padding here on this back panel, so it's pretty comfortable on that level. There isn't any mesh or anything like that, so it doesn't like breathe very well. So I found it getting warm even on 50 some degree days. It's winter right now, but we've had some unusually warm weather, so that has getting a bit warm. But again, it's a camera backpack, it's heavy, it's going to get sweaty and stuff like that. So moving on to the shoulder straps here, we do have a little bit of a curve here. Move that up a little bit to conform to your body. But these are some of the, I don't want to even say dense because it's not even really padding. They're just kind of hard shoulder straps, and they're just really not what I personally like. They're not super comfortable to me. I could see maybe some people liking it, but it's just really not for me. There's really not enough padding, especially for how much gear you can fit inside of here. We do have some mesh though, which is a nice feature because that does keep your like right here a little bit cooler than it would if there was no breathable material there at all. Easy to adjust down here. No strap keepers, which if you're smaller and you have to cinch this thing down really tight, that might be an issue for you. But overall, a very basic harness system, and the shoulder straps for me just make this a not super comfortable carry. But again, it's just going to depend on your body type and how you like your shoulder straps. Some people like them really dense and hard. Some people like them to be more like cushy, and these are not soft like that at all. So again, just depends how you like to wear your pack. So if you found this video helpful so far, make sure you throw a like on this video and subscribe to the channel so we can continue making content like this to help you travel smarter. But as you can see now, I have the pack on, and for me, I have a bit of a bigger frame, so I think it fits my body okay, but it really just feels like I'm wearing like a brick on my back. And I don't even have the main compartment that packed out right now. I mean, I do have quite a bit of gear inside of there, but it just, the shape of the pack kind of just makes it always feel like you're wearing a brick. And right now, because I don't have it super packed out, these shoulder straps are doing okay. But when I have my full camera kit, which normally consists of a mirrorless camera, a film camera, and about 4 lenses, actually 6 lenses if you include the lenses that are on there, these shoulder straps just don't do it for me. But right now when I just have a mirrorless, a lens, and then a tripod and a couple of accessories, it's not super uncomfortable, but again, I really just feel like I'm wearing a brick right now. So we've got a few secondary compartments to get through here. The first one to go over is this front pocket here. So I like that this front pocket exists, but because of the closure system, I didn't use it all that much. So it's got this like weird kind of like button closure, and I'm gonna need to get it closer so you guys can see it. As you can see, it's like a little just nub there that comes off of that piece of material, and then there's just a circle on here, and then this circle has like a locking mechanism that's tighter than the rest of the circle, so you can push it through and it like attaches around it, but it comes off really easily. And I actually had it come off a few times while I was wearing the backpack while kind of like going, I don't want to say brush, but like trees kind of just like knocked it off. And this isn't a hiking camera backpack, so I guess I can't be too harsh on it, but because of that, I don't know. I just really don't like this system of putting it on there. It's pretty hard to do with one hand too. So like if you've got your camera in one hand or something and you're trying to close this, like you're gonna have to set your camera down. Like you can get it eventually, but I don't know. I'm just really not a fan of this closure system. It seems like there are better ways you could have done this. And a magnet is just about as sturdy as this is, because it's not, it's not locking it down or anything like that. At least in my experience, but you can push it down, but a lot of times it like comes up a little bit. It's gonna be really hard for me to show you that, but like it's all the way down right now. If you barely touch it, it already is coming up to that position where it's just gonna pop off. So I think, again, in theory, I like this pocket, but just the closure made it a hard use for me. So typically what I would have stowed in here is my packable rain jacket. I actually forgot that at home today. So it is a pretty good sized pocket, as you can see from the extra material here. So you're not really sharing space with your main compartment, so you're not eating into your camera space. So it's nice to have that extra stuff, but again, don't put anything you're super worried about in here, because again, I don't think you're gonna lose it, but there, where there's a chance it could happen. But moving on to the laptop compartment here on the top, I like that this is a dedicated pocket and it is a top loader. Don't love side loaders. I'm always worried a laptop's gonna tumble out and it's gonna break, and then I'm not gonna have a laptop anymore. So the top loader makes it so that probably won't happen, because it's gonna be facing up most of the time. So we have a huge compartment here. So I have a 15-inch, and as you can see, there is quite a bit of extra space in there. I believe it's marketed as being able to fit an 18-inch computer. So we don't have an 18-inch computer here. We do have a 16, and the 16 fit in there with room to spare. So just keep that in mind. One thing to note is that this isn't, there's some padding here. It's just not padded as well as I would like to see my laptop compartment be padded. For general use, yes, but when I'm out taking photos, it's like I don't want to be worried about setting my bag down and my laptop like just getting messed up. So I wish there was a little bit more dense padding here. For general use, I think it is okay, but there is an issue at the bottom of the pack that's gonna be incredibly hard for me to show you, so I'm just gonna do my best here and you'll have to kind of take my word for it. So first off, it's not raised, so there is a bit of padding here on the bottom, but when you set it down, your laptop's, one of the first things that's hitting the ground. But also, I'm gonna try and kind of show you this, but there's bottom padding right here, and then there's the side padding right here, but the two paddings, getting the shoulder strap in my face here, don't connect. So there's like two little areas here. So you can kind of see my finger poking through right here. There's a big gap between the padding. So instead of that bottom padding acting as like a cushion for your laptop on the bottom, your laptop's gonna try, because of gravity, is gonna try and go to the lowest place. And there's two lower places than the padding, because the padding has depth. So it goes into those corners. So basically you just have this cotton twill material, maybe like a little bit of a liner in there as well, protecting your laptop from the ground. You don't really have padding most of the time. Sometimes if you have enough stuff stowed in here, it's gonna kind of slow down and maybe it'll land on that padding. But when I have my laptop in there, I can really feel it not padded. So just not a great design in my personal opinion. Maybe if you have a bigger laptop or something, it wouldn't be as much of an issue. Maybe it would force it to sit on that padding. But for me personally, with a 15-inch, that is what happened. So the main compartment is where the real party is at. Obviously this is a camera bag, so that's where a lot of the fun is going to be at. So I'm gonna pop this open now. And as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, this isn't fully packed out right now. I have more room here for lens, camera, whatever I want to stow here. As I mentioned, I often carry this camera with this lens, And I also had my Nikon F100, which is basically a DSLR-sized film camera that I was able to stow up here, and then with a lens on it, and I was able to stow 4 more lenses in here when I didn't have the tripod. So you really have a ton of space here. There's nothing compromising your space. Everything you see in this pack pretty much is camera space, so you can stow a ton of gear here. The side padding, again, similar to the laptop compartment, doesn't feel super durable. Or not durable is the wrong word. It doesn't offer as much protection as I would like it to, but again, I'm rugged with my gear. If you're constantly like being very mindful of where you're setting your camera gear and stuff like that, this might be enough for you, but it's not enough padding for me personally, especially when you consider how much I like these dividers, because these dividers are very well padded. They're very easy to maneuver and get how you want. As you see, I have 3 extra ones right here right now. Sometimes I'll put those, if I'm going on a more rugged journey, I'll put those vertically like this, like I have over here, to make sure nothing's bouncing around. These are a lot more dense than the padding on the sides, and I just wish that the side padding was as dense and protective as this middle stuff is. So overall, I do like the design here. I just wish that the outside padding along all of these 4 sides was a bit more thorough, but very much like how I'm able to customize this and kind of use it for my needs. But again, just a little bit worried if you're rugged like me, like I know that I don't treat my gear as good as I should. So that pack has made me realize that maybe I need to do that. But moving on to the lid here, as you can see, we do have some organization. And one thing to mention about this liner material is that it's a bit loud. I'm not sure how well I can illustrate that, but I can actually illustrate it a little bit better with this front pocket that we mentioned earlier. I don't know, it's just a little bit crunchy. That doesn't bother me so much, but I've seen comments on YouTube for other bag reviews that I've done that people don't like materials that do that. So it doesn't bother me, but wanted to mention it. We have 3 different pockets here on the top pocket. This one actually has a little bit of depth, as you can see here. It kind of comes out a little bit more than these flat pockets do. So this is a good place to stow items with a little bit more like just width. I'm not utilizing that right now, but I was able to stow a different ball head tripod mount in here, but it was a friend of mine, so I wasn't able to bring it in for the review today. So I just have my mouse for my laptop and then my Joby Grip Tight 1 micro stand. So you do have a little bit, as you can see, there is a gusset there, so you can stow items with just a little bit more width there if you want to. Not a ton of, or actually I should just say, there's no padding in this lining material, so if you're stowing something sensitive, you might want to put it in a case or something like that. We have a middle pocket here with mesh, and as you can see, that's where I've got my SD cards. People have told me I shouldn't stow SD cards like this before in the past. It's never caused me a problem, so I'm still doing it. Eventually, maybe if I break an SD card, I'll report back and say, yeah, that was dumb. But I like this because I can see them. So when I'm leaving on my trip or I'm coming home from my trip, I can like, okay, I have my extra SD cards, or I have the SD cards that I filled up while I was gone. They're here, I can see them. Or batteries is nice too. I travel with a GoPro a lot, so putting some extra batteries here is nice because then again, you know that you have them, you can see them, you have eyes on them. It's kind of like a passport, being able to see it. You know it's there, you're ready to go. And then this last pocket is, again, more of a flat pocket here, and you can't see into it, as you guys can tell, but I have a battery bank in here, and as you can see, stuff kind of falls out of it depending on how you are unloading your bag. So battery bank, wall charger, and then my GoPro charger as well. So quite a bit of room here. You could stow a lot of cables here if you wanted to, like if you're trying to cut out your tech pouch. You could probably stow most of the things you keep in your tech pouch as long as you don't have a really big one inside of this organization here. But again, it really just depends how you travel, and pretty much everything to do with this camera backpack depends how you travel, how comfortable you want your back panel to be, and kind of just how rugged you are with your gear. I really do like the organization, but again, on this pack, there are just a few safety concerns. Feels like the wrong word, but I think you know what I mean with making sure your gear is safe and that it is sound. But overall, like the design, just depends how you're gonna use it. So there you have it, the Langley Sierra backpack. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next one.